JJ Barnes and you're watching another episode of Creative Writing Advice. If you don't know me, my name's JJ. I am the author of How to Write a Story, as well as other books that are out. I also have a film and a television show in production. And my series over here on YouTube is designed to bring you the writing advice that I have learned through my career. Hopefully, I can distill it down into little chunks that make it easy to follow and understand so that I can help make you a better and more confident writer. So today I'm going to be talking about the art of foreshadowing. So foreshadowing is how you hint and tell your audience, either your readers or your viewers, what's going to happen in your story. You're telling them effectively from the beginning what the end is going to be. Now, not obviously, because you don't want to ruin the story. You don't want people to be like, I saw it coming, it was obvious, because that's boring, that's not entertaining. Why bother watching it? But foreshadowing is very clever because they don't realise they know what's coming, and it can still shock them and surprise them. But it means that when it happens, when the end occurs, they're like, oh, it makes sense. If you don't foreshadow something, it kind of feels like it's coming out of the blue. And whilst you want the element of surprise, you don't want your audience to always be like, I knew what was coming. If it comes out of the blue and there's no foreshadowing to it, it feels like it wasn't planned, like you, the writer, you're just making it up as you go along, and it's not very good writing, because if it feels like you're making it up as you go along and haven't crafted it with love and care and knowledge of what you're doing, it's not great. It won't stick with people. Foreshadowing tells your audience that you know what you're writing, you care about what you're writing, you've thought about it, you've constructed it with care, and it's an entertaining experience. And what will happen is when you watch it through or read it again, you will start to notice the foreshadowing. So then it makes the second or third or fourth viewing or reading even more interesting and entertaining, because they're spotting things they hadn't noticed before. And you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be like, oh, I never noticed that, because the foreshadowing isn't spotlit. It's not like, look what's going to happen. But when you see it again and you know the ending, it's like, oh, that's so clever. They obviously knew what they were doing, and it's cool. It makes you feel taken care of as an audience person. So what I'm going to be using as an example of foreshadowing, and there is plenty out there, but I'm going to be talking about Shazam. Now, Shazam is a great film for foreshadowing. It's very, very clever, and it's really, really well done, because from the very beginning, you are being told what will happen at the end with the big plot twist. So if you haven't watched Shazam, this will contain spoilers, so just blah. So at the end of Shazam, they all take the stick, they shout Shazam, and then all 6 of the kids, the foster kids, become superheroes. And it's like, oh God, that's brilliant. Never saw it coming, but you did see it coming. You did. Because from the very beginning, when the little boy, obviously the little boy who becomes the big baddie, and then Billy, when they meet the wizard in the chamber, 6 seats, right? 6 seats. And he talks about how his brothers and sisters are gone and he is the only one left. 6. When Billy goes to the foster home, there is then 6 brothers and sisters, right? Straight away, it's right there. And they start building it up. You have hints all the way through about what is going to come. So when you watch it and it gets to the end, and there's lots of foreshadowing in it, I'm just going to talk about a couple because I don't want to overwhelm you. But when you start watching it through, and they talk about what's going to happen, you've got the kids are all connected and they're all trying to grow and they're all supportive and they all believe in Billy. You've got little one who wants to be a superhero. It's all there. It's all laid out for you. But when it happens, you're still surprised because it wasn't told, oh, look at how there are 6 seats. It's woven into how the wizard speaks, and he has a very interesting and complicated way of talking, so it kind of gets lost in it, but not fully lost, because you remember it and you notice it. So that when they're in the foster home and there's the 6 kids all working together and connecting, it makes sense. So the way to do this with your own story is when you start writing it, you might not necessarily know the entirety of the end. You might not, and that's fine. That's what editing is for. So then you go back in and you edit. And you put in at the beginning little hints. Now they could be subtle. They could be thematic hints. So for instance, In Shazam, a lot of what Billy is motivated by is finding his birth mother. He feels isolated in the world. He feels alone. And that is clear by the way he keeps running away, because he wants to find his real family. That theme of loneliness drives towards the collection of kids who come together as a family. The theme of finding your place in the world pushes towards a theme of the fact that he is the one who is chosen to become Shazam. The way Billy pushes his brothers and sisters away from him and starts trying to be cool and be Shazam, who's all popular, rather than caring about his family, tells you that he is looking in the wrong places. So when he comes together in the right places there, it works. So all the way through, put the little hints. Now it can be thematic or it can be direct. It can literally be somebody picks an object up and it's like, oh, this is interesting, and puts it down. And then another bit in the story, oh, I wonder what this does, puts it down. And then that is the big weapon he uses at the end. It can be very obvious. It can be very direct. It can be very in your face. But you can't pick it up and say, this would make an interesting weapon, put it down. I would like to whack somebody in the head with it, put it down, later whack somebody in the head, because that's too obvious. That's just in your face. But you can slowly build up the mentions. So you can have them notice the object. Oh, I'd love to use this object. Then they use it and smash somebody in the head. The point is, all the way through, you weave in mentions of what's coming. You can have people say things that they repeat and it comes in later. But if you look at the end of your story, what you have to foreshadow is anything significant. So if you do have a weapon that's used at the end, make sure that that object is looked at different points. If they learn a piece of information that is very, very key, have mentions of that fact that they will need to use. Now it could be the antagonist references it or a friend references it and then they get it at the very end. Doesn't matter. As long as anything that is key at the end of your story appears earlier in your story. Now not everything, but most things, they should be at least referenced. And this is true of any characters. If you have characters that are suddenly very, very important at the end of your story, but do not appear anywhere else in your story, that's terrible. You've got to have them all the way through. The foreshadowing tells your audience where you're going and why. So that is what you need to try and do with your story. Drop me a comment and tell me what is your favourite examples of foreshadowing. I'll probably do some more videos on it using more examples, because there are so many ways of foreshadowing and so many examples of it being done well. And I don't want to layer so much into one video that you get overwhelmed by it, because it can make it hard to follow and hard to digest. It's better, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's better in my opinion to try and cover small examples at a time, because then you can watch it, you can read it, you can see it and start to understand it, and then we'll do more examples. I genuinely think the more you see it and the more you hear about it, the easier it is to replicate in your own writing, but you have to not swamp people. This is just what I think. So yeah, tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to swamp people. I want you to love what you're doing and I want it to make sense and for you to enjoy it and not to feel like it's pressure on your brain. So that's what I'm hoping I'm achieving here. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am bringing out videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9:30 in the morning. I'm trying to, cover different topics, writing advice, story structure, characterization, anything like that. But if you want me to cover something specific, either a particular technique or a specific writer or a specific story or a specific character, anything like that, I can look at them, pick them apart and bring you why they are successful. So thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, if you go to my website jjbarnes.co.uk, you'll find links to all my work over there. There's my books, my film, my TV, and of course my writing advice blog as well. And yeah, I'll be back again soon. Thank you very much. Bye.